I'm in Odessa, Ukraine's pearl of the Black Sea. Thousands of British tourists come here every year. They come for the stunning scenery and beautiful women. But beneath the surface of this grand city lurks a culture of fear, intimidation, and an evil trade in deadly weapons.
If you need it, we can sort it out.
I'm here to find out why Odessa is a smuggler's haven. Why it's so easy to scam tourists looking for love.
These girls are professional. They really know how to milk a guy's wallet.
And why the city hides a terrible secret, making Odessa one of the world's toughest towns. On the south coast of the Ukraine, the old Russian Riviera of the Soviet era, Odessa is the largest and most popular tourist destination on the Black Sea. But while most tourists come for sun, sea and sand, and sometimes even a wife, others arrive in search of something far more sinister: guns. Odessa is thought to be the gateway for a multi-billion-dollar illegal weapons trade that causes misery the world over, including back home on the streets of the UK. Only 200 years old, Odessa is a hugely significant port for shipping, for the military, and of course for smuggling. The Russian Navy's Black Sea Fleet had a base here during Soviet times, and despite the Ukraine's independence in 1991, it's remained a strategically important port ever since. I've come to Odessa in the middle of winter, a time when the tourists are sparse and the weather is bleak and unforgiving. A fitting backdrop to the sinister web of intrigue that awaits me. As I uncover the truth about weapons, check out the rumors of endemic Mafia corruption, and ask why its beautiful women are the bait in a scam that robs tourists of hundreds of thousands of dollars. On a cold winter's day, you only get a glimpse of what's considered Odessa's most alluring attraction. But all that changes when night falls. So I'm heading to one of Odessa's premier nightclubs to see what all the fuss is about.
Now in this glamorous setting, in one of the most prestigious clubs in the city tonight, you're going to see the wealthy and the poor put their best foot forward here. And the one asset, Ukrainians' greatest export, you're also going to see on display here is their women.
Odessan women are famed for their beauty. If there's one thing that's going to attract wealthy single tourists on the lookout for love, it's a bevy of beauties looking for that special Westerner to marry. Locals tell me that women in Odessa outnumber men 5 to 1, but you don't need to come to a nightclub and go to the effort of chatting them up. There's a much easier, if costlier way. Type Ukraine into your search engine and the first thing you will see is an advert for beautiful Ukrainian wives. But some of these agencies and women are only interested in scamming money out of the men. Lured by the promise of some of the world's best-looking ladies, many men save up what little cash they have and are then fleeced of thousands of dollars just for the privilege of meeting these women, completely unaware that they never had a chance of marriage.
I saw her sitting there looking kind of unhappy, so I went over there to try to cheer her up. And we hit it off right from then, and the rest is pretty much history.
The internet bridal industry generates more than $17 billion every year. And the Ukraine has a huge stake in it. Dion has been running a reputable bridal agency for 3 years. He moved over here from the US after meeting an Odessan girl.
Most guys will start with looking at the database of the ladies And then once they've found a girl that interests them, they will want to send a letter or, you know, something like that.
He's got some stunning women on his books who he says genuinely want a husband, but he has to be absolutely sure they don't just want the content of a guy's wallet.
Unfortunately, yeah, there's quite a few girls that are just interested in not the marriage thing, but, you know, they're not in my system because I float them out. There are what they call the girls that are just dating, and that's it. I mean, they're not looking for husbands. They're just what we call them is the shopping queens. You know, guy will take them shopping for days. Some of these guys, they like to do that, but then they get all mad and later on they complain that they were scammed. Well, they weren't scammed. They were the ones that were committed to their wallet.
One of the favorite scams is for a woman to promise her future husband that she will join him when her visa clears. But before long, a letter arrives explaining, "Mother is sick, please send money." Once the money is sent, the woman disappears. Complaints fall on deaf ears because very few men can prove anything illegal has taken place.
It's like this. If somebody asks you to send $800, if you send it, don't cry you got scammed because you sent the money. Only a person that says he gets scammed gets himself scammed because he's the idiot that sent the money.
In terms of seeking a wife, is that an expensive business? How much would it cost typically to go from seduction letters to marriage?
You know, it just depends on what a person can afford and how serious they are. You know, some guys will come over here and spend large sums of money, but the typical would be about $10,000.
At that kind of money, I'm not surprised Odessa is awash with potential wives. But when it comes to beautiful women, it seems men's gullibility knows no bounds. Coming up, I meet the 45-year-old man hoping to take home a 19-year-old bride.
I hope that Ekaterina will one day accept my proposal of marriage.
And I discover the astonishing array of weapons on sale in Odessa.
If you need it, we can sort it out.
I'm in Odessa, the Ukraine's pearl of the Black Sea. It's considered to be one of the most criminal ports in the world. This beautiful Mediterranean-style city hides a dark and brutal side. One of Odessa's greatest attractions is its women. Internet bridal agencies are big business here, but as I've already found out, many brides-to-be are just out to scam money out of male tourists. Even in the middle of winter, when the temperature drops to below zero, the men still come in hope of finding a wife. I'm on my way to a traditional Ukrainian steam room, or banyar, to meet one such man. Oh, shit. 45-year-old American Barry, a company manager from Indiana with 2 failed marriages behind him, is going to introduce me to the woman he hopes one day to marry, 19-year-old Ekaterina. She doesn't speak any English, so all their conversations are conducted through her translator. Barry and Ekaterina met just 9 days ago.
We've gone on a few dates since then, and it seems with each date that passes, we grow a little closer to each other. And one of the most interesting things that happened, it was on our very first date when we were having dinner. There were moments in our meeting when we did not need the services of an interpreter. There was points where the communication flowed just very naturally. Even though she was speaking in Russian and I was speaking in English, there was a connection beginning.
What do you hope for you as a couple?
I hope that Ekaterina will one day accept my proposal of marriage and join me in the United States to form a family.
Has it surprised you how well you've yourself and Barry have connected?
Не могу сказать, что сильно удивило. can say that she was very
Ну,
surprised
это
because
было
she felt some connection through the
приятно,
letters.
просто
It was a
приятное
pleasant
подтверждение, да?
It was a pleasant confirmation of letters when she met him in person.
And would it be part of your dream to move and live live in the US?
Хотела, это было бы твоей мечтой переехать и жить в США?
Я не уверена, но неважно, как бы, где жить, главное с кем.
She's not sure about her move to US. It is not important where to live. It is important with whom to live.
There's always the risk, Barry, that you could be disappointed or scammed, or people like you're very vulnerable. So are you comforted by the fact that Katerina is also looking for love?
Yes, and I actually believe that I understood this about her beforehand. I know that there's always the possibility that somebody could have ulterior motives. But I believe that Ekaterina is a very honest and sincere person, and I have great faith that in her as far as being sincere with me. I truly believe my missing half is in this part of the world, and with each date that I spend with Ekaterina, I begin to feel more and more that she is that missing half of my soul.
I think if I went... Of course. You can see how easy it is to fall for these scams. Barry hears what he wants to hear, and the girls create a false sense of intimacy, and it's compounded by the language barrier. I kind of feel for Barry, because I think all the ingredients are there to set him up for a fall. All the ingredients of a scam are there. Is it a scam? Well, we can't know for sure. He's not quite the innocent. He's been married twice. He's been in the Navy. He's been a roadie, so he's not entirely naive. Although there is a lovely innocence about him, and I'd hate to think that the most predictable thing is going to happen to him. That he's going to end up scammed and steamed and disappointed. But crime in Odessa goes much deeper than wife scamming. The Russian Mafia has a vice-like grip on the city that dates back to the end of Soviet occupation. When the Soviet Union left the Ukraine in 1991, it left a power vacuum and a country on its knees. Its army left 1.5 million tons of conventional munitions behind that it couldn't afford to ship back to Russia. This is one of the biggest abandoned arms stockpiles in history and will take the Ukraine government 50 years to destroy. Many of these weapons, poorly guarded or stolen, have disappeared into the black market, estimated to be half of the Ukraine's GDP. In its first 6 years of independence, the Ukraine saw $57 billion worth of ex-Soviet weapons disappear. These weapons have been linked to some of the bloodiest conflicts and most notorious governments in the world. The regime of Saddam Hussein, Somalian militias, and even the Taliban have benefited from the lax security in the Ukraine. The illegal weapons trade is shrouded in secrecy. It's controlled by organized crime bosses who have successfully eluded prosecution by the Ukrainian government. With such vast sums of money at stake, corruption is reputed to be endemic here. Just outside of Odessa is the notorious 7-kilometre market, a hodgepodge of lorries, containers and market stalls that was built up around counterfeit goods. It's Europe's biggest market and it's rumoured to turn over $20 million a day. People travel hundreds of miles from all over the country to buy goods here. And I'm told you can buy anything you want, from fake Gucci handbags to submachine guns. We've had to keep our camera hidden for obvious reasons. But it's not long before we find what we're looking for. It's legal to own firearms in the Ukraine, but I'm astonished at the firepower on offer. And even the smallest category of gun has the potential to be lethal.
You do not need a license to buy these guns. They belong to the sports armory category. And you do not need permission as they are not regarded as self-defense. You can use real bullets with them, but that's not legal.
I asked his shop assistant if he sells gas guns, a police gun made to fire CS gas but often smuggled into the UK and altered to take live bullets.
Gas guns belong to the traumatic category, therefore you need a license for the purchase and selling. We don't have it. But if you need it, we can sort it out.
Some of these guns date back to the early 1900s and have been used in several wars, like this Soviet-issued German Mauser from the 1920s. Many of them are deactivated so that they can only fire blanks, and some are replicas, exact copies of real guns. Because it's legal to own blank-firing weapons in the EU, these are often sold to foreign collectors. But British police are gravely concerned about the amount of them making their way from the Ukraine into the hands of UK street gangs, and the ease by which they're converted by backstreet gunsmiths to fire live rounds. They estimate that at least 150,000 deactivated guns are in circulation. While I'm in the store, I find an old Soviet-issue World War I Smith & Wesson, similar to the British Army version that killed 11-year-old Rhys Jones in Odessa's twin city of Liverpool. For $330, this is what we can get. It's a weapon similar to this that was involved in the Rhys Jones case, that with a little bit of tampering can become very effective and very much the real thing with real consequences. Guns are in pretty easy supply here. And sources have told us that for a small cash bribe, we can smuggle this gun through Moldova, 30 miles away, and into Western Europe. I've already discovered guns are everywhere, but I need to know how such a deadly trade can be allowed to flourish in what seems like such a beautiful and peaceful town. But to do that, I need to speak to someone who knows this town inside out. Odessa is home to many English expats who live here all year round. And despite it being the middle of winter, I have found just the man. Gary has been here for 2.5 years. He runs a nightclub, is in tight with the locals, and knows just how this town works. He should be able to give me the inside word on Odessa. What brought you to Odessa?
I don't know why. It's probably economical climate. You've seen what it's like in England, and you've seen what it's like here. And you get 5 months of glorious sunshine in summer here, or you can have a week in England.
Is it a safe city for tourists?
Yes, it is. In the city centre, it's very safe. There's a big police presence in the city centre, and they do rely on tourism here, so they look after the tourists. I've been here 2.5 years, never had a problem. It's going to be the Eastern Bloc Costa del Sol, literally.
Since Spain and the UK signed an extradition treaty, British criminals have started moving into the Ukraine. This city is home to 1 million people, and when the tourists arrive for the summer, that number almost doubles. Amazingly, there are barely any reported crimes against tourists in Odessa. With the city centre only 1 mile wide, people walk its boulevards in almost complete safety any time of day and night. But looks can be deceiving. Safe cities aren't always the way they seem. It often means a much more sinister force is at work. Is corruption a big problem here? It seems to me that salaries for police and judges and politicians are so low, it seems ripe for it.
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of corruption here, but at least it's up front. We know it goes on here.
The average wage in the Ukraine is only $200 a month. Unsurprisingly, corruption here is endemic. And amazingly, the majority of the Ukrainians accept that corruption is the way to get things done. What's it like to do business here?
It's very hard to do business here. You've got to be streetwise, not a businessman, but streetwise. You've got to look at your bribery, your corruption, everything else. Before you even think about even opening a business, really look into it. You've got to have a roof, somebody taking care of you, especially if you're a Westerner. It's somebody who looks after you to make sure you get no problems, no hassles, things like that.
How do you arrange for your protection?
There's plenty of people who will offer it. offer protection, but you've got to make sure you've got the right protection. And it's basically listening to people, talking to people, and finding out the best people who can take care of you and look after you. Else you can get problems.
What kind of problems? Intimidation, guns,
Yeah,
threats?
well, you can get intimidation, yeah. Your business is doing well, they will try and take it off you.
It's no surprise that the threats are serious because guns are readily available. Guns and gangsters go hand in hand, and I'm about to find out that in Odessa, it seems the gangsters are particularly ruthless. Coming up, a former KGB agent turned businessman tells me how it is in Odessa.
On the black market, you can buy all types of weapons.
And I discover the real victims of Mafia greed. I'm in Odessa, a city ruled by a menacing underworld. Formerly part of the USSR, the Soviets may have left Odessa, but the Russians are still here, in the form of gangsters. Corruption is rife here. Studies reveal that the majority of businesses make unofficial payments to public officials. Those involved at the top end of corruption will stop at nothing to keep it hidden from scrutiny, especially when it comes to discussing the illegal arms trade. And with the entire city believed to be run by the Russian Mafia, we have been warned that the consequences of digging too deep could be fatal. Journalists who have dared to write about public corruption or the role of gangsters in the economy have suffered terrible consequences.
Journalists are a very good target. They are in the public eye, so killing or beating or making people from the journalism profession disappear was to give a signal to the entire society that we are still there. We still control the situation, or at least we are not going away as easy as you would like us to.
Journalists asking unwanted questions have been dealt with ruthlessly. In just 10 years, 13 reporters died unnaturally in the Ukraine. Many more have been given signals. Odessan investigative journalist Alexander Levitt has been sent a signal for writing critical pieces about the local authorities and their connections with shadowy businessmen. Alexander, how difficult is it for journalists to operate in this city, in this country?
To my great sorrow, it is very difficult to be a journalist in this country. It is very dangerous.
Walking home from work one night, Alexander was beaten up in this playground.
It was dark, and the weather was like it is today. I was hit on the head from behind. I fell down, but I managed to rise a bit. I was able to see the people who were beating me. Then they started to kick me.
Despite his beating, Alexander continued writing, but a year later, things took a turn for the worse.
I was on a work trip to Kiev. I received a phone call in the editor's office saying that my apartment was completely destroyed by a fire. Both my very old parents were inside.
Thankfully, Alexander's parents survived, but the trauma sent his mother to an early grave. At least Alexander is still alive to tell the tale. In 1997, the editor of a local Odessa newspaper, Boris Derevyenko, was not so lucky. He was shot and killed on a city street in broad daylight on his way to work. He was a known critic of the local government's ties with the underworld. Alexander is in no doubt as to why he'd been targeted.
I am confident and indeed sure it is because of the number of critical articles I have written in the local Odessan newspaper. I was told this directly when I was beaten. I have also been told that if I continue to write, I will be killed. They were not brave enough to kill me, but they destroyed my whole family.
But these risks are just part of the job of being a journalist in the Ukraine.
I am continuing to write in the same way as I have written in the past. I will continue to ask these unpleasant questions and will continue to do so until I die. Let's say it's like this. I can't be stopped by these scare tactics.
Unless you're a tourist, it seems no one in this city is immune from the Mafia's fearsome rule. Sid, a British expat who recently ran poker clubs with his business partner in the Ukraine, soon found out how things work in the city.
You don't fuck with them, because if you do, they're going to give you a slap. That's the first thing you get. It's a good slap. And then, boom, goodbye, you're gone. My pal had a problem, but he didn't think it was a problem. And he got shot 3 times. But they shot him, but it didn't kill him. So yeah, you can't mess. You can't fuck around. Because life is worth nothing. Life is worth nothing there. Absolutely worth it.
The Odessan Mafia have a lot to protect, and asking questions about arms smuggling is very dangerous. So far, it's been impossible to find anyone who will talk. Until now. A very successful businessman is willing to meet us at Odessa's grandest hotel.
Well, I'm about to meet a guy called Alex. He's a very, very connected guy in this city. I'm told he can unlock the secrets of this place for me, and he is ex-KGB, and is very, very, very powerful. And I've been told that I have to give him great respect and great deference. This is his city, his town, and we're very much at a place here, so I'm going to obey by all of those rules. Alex. Thank you very much for seeing us. Great. We'll sit down here and we'll talk over here. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Alex, how big is the black market economy in Odessa?
The black economy exists, and it is flourishing in Odessa.
And how about the black market in guns and weapons? Because, of course, the Ukraine has a large stockpile in ex-Soviet weapons.
On the black market, you can buy all types of weapons. For example, starting from the ordinary weapons called starter weapons, more for respect, then weapons to harm anybody, then to the big number, real military weapons.
And has it been quite a problem, the export of illicit guns out of the Ukraine through Odessa?
This is a real problem. Guns are indeed exported through neighbor countries, and there are people who can arrange it.
And is there big business in that, and is there big money to be made exporting the illegal guns through Odessa?
There is no need to discuss this, as the answer is obvious.
The KGB trained this man. It's no surprise he won't reveal much. Many of the world's most notorious weapons dealers are connected with Odessa, and they don't like people who talk. In 2001, Italian police busted millionaire Odessan gangster Leonid Minin in a hotel room full of prostitutes and cocaine. The police discovered incriminating documents that led Minin to be charged with international gun smuggling and shipping 13 tons of arms to the Ivory Coast and 68 tons to Burkina Faso. In 2008, a man widely linked to the Odessan Mafia, Victor Bout, dubbed the Merchant of Death by a British politician, was arrested for the sale of millions of dollars worth of armaments in Colombia. Many of these shipments were thought to have come through Odessa.
что необходимо, делают, но просто есть такие...
There are structures that protect this kind of smuggling.
Like what?
I don't want to talk about it, because I know too much.
And does the tourist industry fund the black market industry?
Ну, где-то...
Well, part of it, yes. There is a share of it.
And in what way does that happen?
There are too many details. We don't need to go into it.
The KGB trained this guy well. He isn't going to implicate himself or anyone else. I am all too aware of what happens to journalists who pry too deeply. And I decide to leave it there before I get a warning. Organized crime is only interested in making money, not helping the poor. While Odessa's gangsters enjoy the fruits of their ill-gotten gains beneath the city's apparent oasis of calm, Odessa hides a terrible secret. Away from the eyes of tourists, hundreds of homeless street kids live underneath Odessa's most beautiful buildings. Abandoned by their families, the authorities, and the businesses above them, they are left to live in appalling conditions. Most are addicted to glue, and many of them have HIV. Robert is a church minister from the US. After visiting Odessa and learning about the street kids, he gave up everything to come and help them. He now runs a charity that clothes, feeds, and monitors the health of these children with what little resources he can scrape together. He relies on donations, but receives no help from the authorities or the city's power brokers.
It's very easy. Glue is about 3 hryvnias, I think, 3 or 4 hryvnias. So it's not even $1. They beg. They go on the streets with a cup, usually like a McDonald's cup, and they'll sit there and beg for change. And they can make, I don't know, $3, $4, maybe $5 a day. Begging. If it's they take, sometimes it seems like the littlest kid, you know, and put him out there to raise money for the whole group, and then they use that money to buy glue.
Today is Artur's birthday.
У тебя сегодня день рождения. А сколько тебе лет? 13. А ты давно тут живешь? Месяц.
Вот сколько лет на улице?
Я года 2.
Сколько?
2 года.
2 года. He's been 2 years on the streets, living different places.
А ты из Одессы сам? Я
уже отправил. В Видеопольской области, город Одесса, Великодолинская.
А ты тут уже подружился с кем-то, с ребятами?
Много людей.
Occasionally, the kids will steal a mobile phone, which allows them to barter for things. But as Artur has found, it comes at a cost.
Слушай, а что у тебя за синяк там? Что, упал?
Это ударили, телефон забрали.
На улице тебя чужие кто-то, или вы просто подрались?
Чужие.
А за что?
Просто ударили, телефон забрали.
Это часто случается?
Когда есть телефон, часто. Когда нет, очень.
Robert has appealed to people with money in Odessa to help, but it seems the city wants to ignore the problem. Trying to prevent kids from living such miserable lives should be easier than this. But Odessa is no ordinary city.
In a city like Odessa, the issue is trust. Once I asked a radio producer, is there a man in Odessa that people would trust with this kind of money? We're talking about 500,000 or 600,000 euros to fund a program like that. Well, our response was, you know, there is no such man.
It's a cruel irony that finds street kids living in squalor directly beneath Odessa's banks. But it's testimony to this messed up society that these kids can live in squalor because there are no services to help them. Coming up, a journey to a graveyard as Alex decides I need to learn about Odessa's most feared gangster. I'm in Odessa, Ukraine's popular coastal tourist destination. Hundreds of thousands of visitors come from all over the world to sample its summer sun and beautiful sights. All the statistics show that tourists are perfectly safe here.
I've been here 2.5 years, never had a problem.
And that's because the crime in this city goes on at a much higher level. Alex, an ex-KGB man who's very well connected in this city, has left me in no doubt that there are questions I shouldn't ask.
I don't want to talk about it, because I know too much.
The day after meeting him, I get a phone call from Alex saying he wants to take me on a tour. He won't tell me where. He said it was a surprise. After yesterday's encounter, it might be wise not to turn him down. Eventually, Alex tells me he's taking me to the tomb of Odessa's most respected and legendary mobster. I'm being granted a rare, if odd, honor.
As we're going to visit the grave of a major mobster, even in death they command respect, perhaps even more respect than in life. So we have to bring our little token, no matter his deeds among the living.
It seems bizarre that the best kept and most revered grave in this cemetery is a gangster's, who's up to his neck in human trafficking, drugs, and gun smuggling. But that's a good indication of the principles this city operates on. When the Russian Mafia took hold of the Ukraine in the 90s, Odessan mobster Viktor Kulevar, or Karabas, refused to give up his patch. Legend paints him as a Robin Hood type figure who ruled Odessa through trust rather than violence.
This was a man who took decisions about everything related to the town. He was involved in the hidden economy. He collected taxes from everybody who was involved in business. Generally, he was a normal person and never insulted anybody.
I've met enough gangsters to know you don't earn that kind of respect without being utterly ruthless. But Alex seems determined to romanticize the man.
He was a peaceful man with a positive attitude towards people. He wasn't your typical ruthless gangster. Even more than that, people would ask him for help when the authorities were not treating them fairly. He had a lot of power in every level and structure of the town.
But Karabas had something everybody else wanted: control over Odessa's lucrative oil and weapons trade.
He always loved to go to the steam rooms here in Odessa. But one lovely morning, he came out from the steam room and a man appeared with a Kalashnikov, and he was shot and killed.
After his assassination in 1997, the bodies started piling up. Odessa suddenly found itself overrun by what's known as the Third Force, a frightening cocktail of oligarchs, ex-KGB agents, and gangsters.
In one day, there was transformation of power in the city.
The city had changed forever.
How big was his funeral?
We can even say tens of thousands. Everybody wanted to come and bury this man and pay their respects.
The people of this city are nostalgic for a time when Ukrainians, not Russians, ran Odessa. but those times are long gone. Odessa is a beautiful city, but I've discovered that its grandeur is a facade that disguises a grim reality of poverty and corruption. Organised crime has got its roots deep into Odessa, to such an extent that corruption is now an accepted part of society. The crime bosses have grown rich and powerful by the trade in women, drugs and illegal weapons. Journalists who dare to publish the level of corruption in Odessa and the grip that the gangsters have on politicians risk being killed. Until the Ukrainian government delivers respect for the rule of law for its people, the situation in Odessa will only get worse before it gets better.